everyone, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus a little bit of insight into what it all means. Joining us, as always, is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, John Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. I'm not going to tell you why Ashley's laughing. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth. All of us, all 40 fingers, present and accounted for at this desk.
And also here, AMC's Christian Arloff.
Yummy.
Oh,
and anybody that can guess what movie that's from, I'll give you a shout out on Twitter.
And also here, AMC's Maude Garrett.
I had a boo-boo on my finger.
She hurt herself. Hey, listen, guys, before we get started, as happens sometimes around here, we had all the show notes written, and then something else drops. A brand new 1 minute long Avengers trailer has dropped. Probably showing us more new footage than we have seen since the first trailer dropped. So it was a 1 minute thing, just hit. Maude and Christian came into my office and they're like, hey, oh, you've seen the new Avengers thing, right? I'm like, no, I've been busy writing show notes. Watched it anyway. Before I give my reaction to it, Christian, your thoughts on this new 1 minute spot that dropped?
Well, what I liked about it was it took away. I never really had any worry about it, but I think I'm curious to hear what you think, because I think it's going to take worry about that there's no humor in it, because you clearly see the humor right off the bat with Downey, as where I think the majority of the humor and the lighthearted moments are going to come from him and his banter back and forth. He's kind of teasing Cap a little bit. I like that moment. I like that moment a lot when they showed that. For the majority of it, I love this TV spot. I thought it worked great. I don't need to see anymore, though. I'm done. There was one particular shot, though, that I found unnecessary, and it was very similar to what they did and when they finally showed the last trailer of Avengers. Not as bad. Like in the first trailer, the last trailer for the original Avengers, they showed when the Hulk grabbed Iron Man and saved him. That always annoyed me because you showed a story point. Now, I know that a lot of us think that, Quicksilver may or may not come back around from this haze that he's in. You see him bumping Ultron in this. You see him running into him and going after him with the shield there. It's like, you didn't need to show that. I know it might happen anyway, but you gave it away. But other than that, I love the trailer.
Maude?
My favorite part was listening to you watch it, because you just hear this, whoa, yes! And I love that. You're right, the humor is back. I love that Cap has a sense of humor, because I feel that some of his standalone movies, he was kind of a little bit dry, but that's what happens when you get frozen for a very, very long time. I want to know more about Widow and Hulk, because those two had a little bit of a moment in the last one, and I'm just like, what's going on there? Give me more of that. But you're right, this one, it's just enough. And the humor's back, and I'm excited for it again. But yeah, any more than this, and I won't need to watch the movie.
Yeah, this was, in my opinion personally, easily the best trailer we've had for Avengers so far, because the first couple ones, my criticism of the first couple ones is, hey, look, these look like great movies, but they don't feel like Avengers movies to me, because while it's dark and bleak, there was no fun. There was no feel of fun to the trailers. And a lot of people would complain to me on Twitter when I said that. But look, it's not one or the other. You can have dark and you can have fun at the same time. It's not a black or white, heads or tails kind of situation. You can do both. And then this trailer comes in, and it was an Avengers trailer. It was fun. And the holy crap moment for me of the trailer was that shot of Captain America on the motorcycle, flipping himself over the bike, then picking the bike up and throwing it and destroying that vehicle with it. That's the one where I started shouting. That's the one I started yelling and jumping up and down in my chair about. This was a fabulous trailer. I didn't think I could get more excited for this movie, and I am officially completely more excited for this movie. So for me, and going to your concern about this, you and I've had this conversation before, though, about, we see Quicksilver bumping into Ultron, right? Or in the Hulk thing, we saw Hulk catching Iron Man. Mm-hmm. The advantage that we have, though, is that in hindsight, from the first Avenger movies, we know that was a big plot point. Yeah. But that's in hindsight. Right now, we don't know the context of the scene, so there's always that question mark.
Yeah, but it's just with the Hulk, the context was enough to where you would think what it was, and it was. And then the other one that we talked about was the Lazarus effect, and the Lazarus effect turned out that was the problem that they showed, and they even cut a second trailer to remove a pivotal point in the movie. And this one, it's just, you've been teased in the post-credits that Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch they're bad, or they're going to turn. You would assume, because of their characters in the comics, they're going to turn. But I don't need to see it in the trailer. I want to see it in the movie. I want to see it happen again. It's quick, but I still see him.
Pun?
Yeah, there you go. But I still see him running into Ultron with the shield in the back. I just don't think this Quicksilver is going to be as good as Days of Future Past. That was my favorite moment. Funny? Oh my gosh, that was the best moment of that whole movie, I felt, even though it was the only scene they really used him. But then I see so soon another Quicksilver with a new character and a new person playing it. And I'm like,
And you know what? I'll say the one part of the trailer I didn't like was that bad Russian accent. That bad accent that Quicksilver gave. You did not see that coming? Like it reminded me of Army Hammer's. It reminded me of Army Hammer's accent in that new spy movie he's got coming out. Man from U.N.C.L.E. I was like,
oh, so quick I missed it. Hey,
no one got my Princess Bride reference.
Oh,
anybody want a peanut?
No,
very
nice
Andre the Giant. All right, what's our first official topic today?
Well, many people love the 2012 film DREDD starring Carl Urban. The movie was a certified flop at the box office, losing the studio nearly $35 million. However, hope for a sequel has been kept alive with both the producer of the film and Carl Urban himself urging fans to sign petitions and mobilize buzz online. However, no movement has been seen from the studio end of things, and now DREDD screenwriter Alex Garland is telling fans it's not going to happen. In a recent interview with Collider, Garland suggested that another rebooted incarnation of DREDD may appear on the big screen someday, but this DREDD is done. John, are you surprised by Garland's comments?
No, not surprised at all. And it's really super, super unfortunate. That DREDD was one of those movies. I'll tell you what killed that movie. It was an absolutely horrific first trailer. The first trailer that came out for that, which was the only trailer for a long time, was a terrible trailer. And I remember this so clearly because that year at Comic-Con, we arranged to have Carl Urban on my Masters of the Web panel. And he was going to be our special guest. And then the next night, the night before my panel, I was going to moderate and introduce the very first public screening of DREDD in San Diego. And we had Carl Urban there and the other cast members there too. And I remember the days leading up to Comic-Con, I was so worried that, man, this movie looks like total crap. I love Carl Urban, but now we're going to have this guy on the panel. It's going to be awkward me avoiding talking about DREDD because I'm not going to get there and say I like DREDD if I don't, and blah, blah, blah. Then we go in and we watch DREDD the night before the panel at Comic-Con. Blown away. I unabashedly loved that movie. I thought it was awesome, but it was too little too late. The positive word of mouth got out about it, but it was too little too late. The movie failed at the box office miserably. And look, you know, a studio, a company, a person loses $35 million.
You don't CPR that.
No, like there's no surviving that. There's no getting over that. There's no, you just push through, make another one. Nah. So, and I knew all the time, no matter how much Carl pushed for it, no matter how much the producers pushed for it, no matter how many people try to sign online petitions, which never get anywhere, by the way, folks. It was never going to happen. And Alex kind of put an explanation, and it sucks. It totally sucks, but I get it. And I don't blame them at all. Christian?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. There were a lot of things. First, what hurt it the first time, I agree with the trailer, the first one, but what actually hurt it also was that it wasn't a super well-known comic as much it was known as a Stallone movie, and that movie was horrendous.
Oh yeah.
So when you think about that movie and Rob Schneider doing God knows what in that film, and you go, oh my God, that's just another one of those.
You just described every Rob Schneider film.
Seriously. And so that hurt it for sure. And then I'm with you. I saw it. I was blown away. And I thought it was the best use of 3D since Avatar, the way that they use 3D. And I'm sure that that's also, Maud and I were talking about it beforehand, that it's one of the things that probably hurt it financially, because Maud was telling me it cost an extra like $5 million. But they still utilized it well. They utilized the story well. There was a mixture of like the raid. It had a lot of fun to it. And Carl Urban rocked it. Being able to just show, he didn't even show his face. Never
saw his eyes.
He didn't need to, and he made that character work. So, but like you said, when you lose that kind of money, it's too much of a risk to go and greenlight a second one, unless you're going to do like a straight to Netflix or something, or Amazon. That's where I thought it might.
$8 million budget, go for it.
That's what I thought was going to catch up. But yeah, I'm not surprised, and I'm bummed.
Alex is saying that he could actually do the next movie for $35 million instead of the $50 that they first used. Yeah. Not surprised as well, but it's not over yet. What hurts is Alex saying that the fact that there is a petition is not a good sign at all. Usually if it comes to that, he's like, oh, out. But he had kind of mapped out DREDD 2 and 3. So 2 was going to go in like the desert feel for the cursed earth, and then 3 was going to bring in the dark judges. And I kind of liked that he had enough material and there's enough there for a trilogy. Yeah. And it could be. But are we going to see it as a movie? Well, I mean, if the guy who kind of is behind it goes, there's no vote of confidence. But yeah, $35 million loss. That's not a little bit. And it was a cult classic too late. This is the Firefly effect all over again. Everyone's like, wow, this is great. And it's already over. And what happens now?
Let's hope Carl Urban hits the Powerball and then he can make it himself.
He would too. Yeah.
All right, what's next?
According to several reports, Straight Outta Compton screenwriter Jonathan Herman has been tapped to write the script for the upcoming Scarface remake. The new Scarface will have a Mexican as the lead character this time around in modern-day Los Angeles. Herman's Straight Outta Compton opens in AMC theaters on August 14, 2015. Christian, what do you think about the addition of Herman to the Scarface project?
Well, I mean, I've seen the trailer for Straight Outta Compton, and I was blown away by it. More so, when I first heard about it, I was interested in it, and then I saw the trailer, and I was, yeah, let's go with this. I can't wait. But I haven't seen the movie yet, so I don't know how the writing is. If from what I've seen so far in the trailer, it sounds exciting. It sounds like, you know, maybe if he's a fan of the franchise. But what everyone needs to know before everyone gets up in arms, like, you can't remake Scarface. It's a remake of a remake.
Yeah.
Scarface itself is a remake.
In the 30s. It went from they've changed it. It was an Italian gangster to a Cuban gangster and now a Mexican gangster. So I dig it. I want to see what he brings to Straight Outta Compton first. I have great feelings about that movie, and if that movie delivers the way I hope it will, then yeah, I'm all for it.
You know, it's funny. This is one of those situations to me where, you know, we're asking the question, does this writer being on this movie make us more excited for the movie? This is a situation to me where the fact that this movie wants to bring on this writer gives me even more enthusiasm for this other movie he already wrote, which is Straight Outta Compton, right? So he must have been doing something that somebody likes that they're already bringing him on to do Scarface. So like on top of how great the trailer was, looking forward to that movie a lot. I like the direction they're going with this. If you're telling a modern retelling of it, I do think you move it to Los Angeles. I do think you update it in many different ways. Yes, the last one was a classic. Notice I didn't say the original was a classic. The last one was a classic, as Christian was pointing out. But this sounds good to me. And as Christian said, we haven't seen Straight Outta Compton. For all we know, the dialogue and the prose and everything is going to be terrible. But hopefully it's going to be great, and that'll just increase my love for it. But right now, this is good to me.
I did a set visit for Straight Outta Compton. And from what I gathered just from that is that everyone was excited about the project. But could I get a real feel for it? No, it was just the one scene that they were doing over and over again. I'm excited about the room that this movie has to grow. I mean, it is adapting. You know, I want to use a Pokemon example, but we are, you know, we're the final stage of evolution here. And it's like back then it was mafia, then it was drugs. Now there's technology, there's fast cars, there's like so many great things that we can do with this adaptation of the story. I kind of think that if the writer wants to really be smart about it, play a lot of Grand Theft Auto, especially in Los Santos.
I have no doubt that this movie is going to feel a lot like that.
I really hope they have pushed it to the limit on there. They got to have some renditions of those songs that are in the Al Pacino Scarface. There's some great songs in there.
All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show for buy or sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Ashley's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down, and then those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, what do we got?
Actress Gina Rodriguez, star of the TV show Jane the Virgin, has just beat out Kristen Stewart for the lead female role in the upcoming Mark Wahlberg film Deepwater Horizon. Based on the true events that occurred on a BP oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico on April 20, 2010, Deepwater Horizon chronicles the courage of those who worked on the Deepwater Horizon and the extreme moments of bravery and survival in the face of what would become one of the biggest man-made disasters in world history. Maud, with Rodriguez joining Wahlberg, do you buy or sell the sounds of Deepwater Horizon?
I buy it only because I like their ambition. Usually when they have a story like this, it goes straight to television. It's like a telemovie, and it's like recognizing the brave people. But getting big names on board like Mark Wahlberg, and now we've got Gina, who's in the top of her game at the moment. She won a Golden Globe. Those two combined, I'm kind of excited to see where it can go, and any kind of focus and attention on environmental disasters, I think that we can use that.
Christian?
That's a big buy for me because
I
almost did, but it was by accident. Big buy, and it is because I'm surprised that it took this long for this movie to be made.
Right.
And Wahlberg reminds me of when he did Perfect Storm.
Oh my God, I love that movie.
So, but with this is a story that should be told on the big screen. I really want to see what they do. I actually like the idea that they got this girl, and nothing against Kristen Stewart, because I actually thought Kristen Stewart's the best I've seen her in Still Alice.
Yeah.
She was great in that and deserves to get more opportunities. But like Maud said, this girl right now is on fire. To straight out of a gate of a show that a lot of us really haven't watched or haven't heard, but yet wins the Golden Globe, knocks it out of the park, and is now doing this movie. I want to see her interaction with Wahlberg, and maybe this pushes her towards being a film star as well as a television star.
Yeah, like I'm going to buy this. And like the last example, this is a situation where her addition to the movie doesn't so much make me more interested in the movie as it makes me more interested in her. Yeah. Jane the Virgin is the name of it. A show I have not watched, I have not seen, but now it makes me interested. She's been winning some awards, getting a lot of critical raves. But this movie, the premise itself sounds really cool. I love these real life events that kind of shook the world, and now getting kind of a different perspective and a different look at it. I eat these types of movies up, so I'm all on board for it. For me, it's a buy. All right, what's next?
The first TV commercial for the upcoming Poltergeist remake is now online. The film follows a family whose suburban home is haunted by evil forces. When the terrifying apparitions escalate their attacks and hold their youngest daughter captive, the family must come together to rescue her before she disappears forever. Poltergeist stars Sam Rockwell and Jared Harris and hits AMC theaters on May 22nd. John Byer saw the looks of the first Poltergeist spot.
Those ghosts taking people hostage.
I know, shame on those ghosts.
I surprisingly buy. I have not had any good feelings about this project. I mean, I have no problems with remakes and stuff like that, but there's never been anything about this other than the addition of Sam Rockwell, which I thought was very interesting at the time. I've never really been completely bought into the idea of it, whatever, and I thought the trailer was going to come. It's going to be schlocky, whatever, but to me, it did this weird thing of at the same time feeling fresh, but feeling completely loyal to the original at the same time. This was unmistakably a Poltergeist remake. Well, at the time, I don't know why. I can't quantify it yet. It just worked for me. So surprisingly enough for me, I'm going to give it a buy, Maud.
No sell. So I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I'm not really into horror movies. It's not a movie that I would want to watch, but I have seen some, and I preferred the looks of the previous one, James Wan's. What was that?
Conjuring.
What was it?
Conjuring?
Yes.
Conjuring,
like,
yes.
that was fantastic. I felt this one's trying to fuse a lot of it just seemed weird that like a wormhole opened up in their living room. And I was like, what? How is that a poltergeist? So I'm a little bit out of it with like how getting sucked through a dimension is a poltergeist thing. Maybe I need to read up on what being a poltergeist is all about. But to me, I love Sam Rockwell. Thought that was great. I think the little kid's creepy, and that's like the main thing, and that's what you need to nail. I kind of thought at the end there was this little clown, and I was like, that's just cliche, and it's kind of done. It was almost there for the sake of being there. I'm not a fan. It didn't scare me, and I scare so easily. And I kind of watched this trailer being like, okay.
Christian?
I cried before.
So just a bit of a sell. I like the clown because they did that in the original. You know, the original, they're bringing back the original because that was one of the creepiest moments in the original. But yeah, I agree with Maud that I feel that the creepier version of it was Conjuring. And when you see this, you're rooting for Sam Rockwell. You're rooting for Sam Rockwell because you want this to be good. I just don't know if this is the remake that we needed. I hope that I'm scared and when I watch it. And you also remember that even though Spielberg is not credited to direct, most people say he directed the first one.
Right, yeah.
And it had the Spielberg feel to it. It felt like the end. The whole movie felt like the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
So I want to see if they're able to capture that magic with retelling this story. So right now I'm not feeling that, but my opinions could change.
All right, what's next?
Actor TJ Miller begins shooting on the new Deadpool movie later this week, and now he has finally confirmed for us which character he'll be playing. According to Miller, he'll be playing the role of Weasel. In the comic world, Weasel is an informant and arms dealer to Deadpool and often considered his best friend when Deadpool isn't abusing him. Christian buyers sell Miller playing Weasel.
Oh, it was a big buy for me. TJ Miller look, I thought that the one misstep that he had, and it wasn't his fault, was in Transformers, the most recent Transformers, because everything that he threw out was just bombing. But that was because it's Michael Bay and it's like a requirement to bomb everything. But TJ Miller is a very gifted comedian. He's got that quick wit. He can go back and forth with the best of them, and he's going to go back and forth with Ryan Reynolds. And to have Deadpool in your face the whole entire time with the quips, and then going back with quips, and you can see Weasel's perfect for him. These are the types of roles that he should do, and I'm glad he got it. So it's a buy for me.
Yeah, I'm going to buy this as well because number one, you need an actor like this. And by the way, his voice performance in Big Hero 6 was so funny. Yes. But you need a character like Weasel, and he's the right guy to play Weasel because not only do you need this functional character that gets Deadpool his information and gets Deadpool his weapons and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, you need all of that. And it needs to be something that's a comrade to Deadpool. Yeah, you need that. but you also need somebody to kind of show what a dick Deadpool is too. He's the hero. We love him, but he's a dick. Like, he really is. And the abuse he puts Weasel through is like, there's this one comic, and I don't want to go into comics too much, but there's this one comic where he like locks him in this dark room that's completely filled with all these sharp objects. So you can't even really move, because if you do, you cut yourself. And then he's that much of a dick to him. So I think having this character is going to give us so much more for Deadpool, and having TJ play that character is great. For me, it's a big buy.
Deadpool went back in time to change his
That's
lifeline.
right.
Like, he's completely controlled every aspect of his life so far. Look, the Merc with the Mouth, you've got Ryan Reynolds playing that, and you're right. This guy is just as mouthy. So they're going to be kind of back and forthing on the same level, and that's what you need. I kind of feel he has played the same character in Silicon Valley, in Big Hero 6 even then still. But for this, it's going to work. And I think if you got something good going, you keep going with it.
Yeah, and it doesn't hurt him yet to be doing the same roles, because he's not in everyone's, he's not typecasted yet, and by doing this, it reminds me of as well too, is it's like if James Bond was a real dick to Q.
Right.
And that's really what this is. So yeah, I love it.
All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. So send on in your emails, and let's see if we can get your question on the show. Ashley, what do we got?
Martin A.V. writes, "Hi, AMC crew. Just wondering if you heard about Michael Biehn confirming on his Instagram that he is officially returning for the new Aliens movie. Personally, I'm so excited for this. What do you think this means for the new movie?"
Well, I would be completely excited, except it's all BS. What's that Instagram account isn't Michael Bihn's Instagram account. The Instagram account, official Michael Biehn, is not actually Michael Biehn, which is,
I got excited. I got really excited.
But listen, that does not mean that Michael Biehn will not be in the next Aliens film. I mean, Neil Blomkamp has said before that he would like to try to find a way to bring back both Ripley and Hicks. And, so I'm not going to be surprised if Michael Biehn does come back. But yeah, Empire magazine actually followed him. Said, yeah, we just talked to Michael Bihn's wife, Jennifer, and she confirmed that he does not have an Instagram account. And that's not him. And your first giveaway should have been when you go to Michael Bihn's Instagram account and he's got 600 followers. So, so unfortunately, I look, if it was true, and if it comes out later that Michael Biehn is indeed returning, which is still a strong possibility, super stoked for a couple reasons. One, because Michael Biehn is awesome. He should have been a huge A-list star, but several things happened in his life and career that kind of side-railed that, but he should have been a megastar. This guy is so much fun to watch. But the other reason I'm super excited is that by bringing him back in, it confirms that they are erasing Aliens 3 and all that came after it out of the history books, and they are truly kind of resetting to post-Aliens, and that to me is nothing but good news. Anyway, Christian.
I'm confused about that, though, because originally, going off the Aliens 3 and 4, because Neil Blomkamp originally it seemed like he said that he was just picking up right after Aliens.
Right.
And then there was another report that said that he wasn't doing that. So I don't know which one is true and which one isn't. But if Michael Biehn, let's say that Michael Biehn creates a Facebook account, Instagram account tomorrow and puts a picture up saying he is coming back, I love it. And I think that it also makes sense because Sigourney Weaver is also, in their 50s now, right? So is he. They've been flying around in space for who knows how long. They wake up and they're in their 50s and they're ready to go. Great. Let's have Hicks and Ripley back. We need it. It's the characters that we loved. And
Newt is now like 33.
Yeah, but you joke about it, but absolutely,
it's true,
yeah. And to have you could put an A-list actor as Newt, which would be a lot of fun.
Catwoman. Who just played Catwoman?
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway is Newt. There we go.
Yeah, well, you could have a lot of different actresses right now play Newt. So I love it, and I hope that Hicks comes back because he was one of my favorite characters.
Sounds like we need like an Aliens canon at the moment because from Colonel Marine, the video game, Hicks is in that, survives as well. This guy just escapes everything and then is cryogenically frozen. So that's kind of where he's at the moment. So he would reawaken, and it makes sense for this movie, I feel, like within the timeline. Let's not forget, though, for Aliens 3, they wanted to use like his corpse in it, and he threatened to sue them, saying if you use a replicant of me, like there'll be trouble. So I kind of think he's the kind of guy, it's like all of me or none at all.
All right, what's next?
Jeff Meyer writes, "Hey AMC, I love the show and was so excited when you announced the 32 animated movies for this year's bracket. I was wondering, what are a few animated movies that even though they didn't make the top 32 are still near and dear to your heart? A personal one for me is Treasure Planet. Thanks for bringing out the kid in me."
on, bring it on.
Bring the filthy.
And the hostages. So here's the, for those of you, I hope you guys know by now that tomorrow, Friday, we start our Movie Madness tournament for Best Animated Film of All Time. The other day on AMC Movie Talk, we announced the 32 films that made it in. Obviously, whenever you put together a list like that, some movies are going to get left out, and no matter what 32 are in, it's going to cause a whole bunch of discussion. And that's the point of this thing, and it succeeded because the discussion on this has been huge. Yeah, a lot of great films did not get in to our list of 32. Some of the ones that it pains me that are not in there. My Neighbor Totoro is one of the ones that is not in there. That's a fabulous movie. Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Transformers, Ghost in the Shell. These are all ones that are fantastic and they didn't get in. But that's the problem when you start talking about best of all time lists and you have a finite number that you can make. Some are going to get in, some are going to get left out, and it hurts. But those are some of the ones that stand out to me that didn't make it in there. Maud, you're going to be on the first episode with me tomorrow talking about the Movie Madness tournament. What are some films or one or two films that are not on our list of 32 that stand out to you?
I was having a big think about this. You know how sometimes there's a movie that you just latch onto as a kid? American Tail?
Oh,
Bible
great.
story?
No, you're not the only ones. Other people have emailed me about that one too. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like, I think it's a lot different for me as well, being an Australian kid, seeing this journey of the American Tail. And I'm like, whoa. And I was like, repeat, like watch that over and over
Australian?
again. Yeah, mate.
I never guessed.
Mate. But my one where I was like, oh, how did I not submit this one? The Land Before Time.
Yep.
yeah.
Also,
gosh.
others wrote to me with
Petrie,
that one.
poor Petrie.
What about you?
Transformers, I read
I knew that
1986.
one.
That's. But how about South Park, the movie, man?
That's another one. A lot of people wrote in. Actually, I'll let you know right now. We put out a video saying, hey guys, we're going to be announcing the 32 films that got in tomorrow, but a couple of ones that are missing that are not going to be in. You're not going to see How to Train Your Dragon. You're not going to see, and there was a couple, right? And then some of AMC's team members called me and I got tons of email from people and we had to rearrange some things. And South Park was actually one of the ones that was in and got bumped out.
I love that movie.
So it was close.
Yeah, Fox and the Hound is another one.
I love Fox and the Hound.
Yeah, and what was the? And I think
Lady and the Tramp is another one.
Lady and the Tramp, and then Schneppen mentioned Heavy Metal.
Yep.
There's one as well too. So those are some of the ones I would have. Oh, and Robin Hood with the fox.
Oh, that's another one that got bumped out at the last second. Last second. got bumped out.
What a
Yeah,
day.
Robin Hood and Little John.
They have that commercial now, which is great.
Oh yeah, they do, which I love. Okay. All right, folks. We also love to take your questions via Twitter. So you can hop on Twitter anytime and tweet in a question using the hashtag AMC Movie Talk. Just hop on Twitter, fire out that question, hashtag AMC Movie Talk. We collect a couple for each show. So Ashley, what do you got from the Twitter sphere?
Vujek Striek writes, after the money 50 Shades made, could we expect more kinky films? Much better script, directing, and cast.
I don't know, because what made 50 Shades of Grey the huge amount of money was not the kinky stuff. It was the ridiculous cultural phenomenon that was the book. And, we saw a 70% drop off from week 1 to week 2 in 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey, the next one, whatever it's called, 50 Shades of Plaid, I don't know, is not going to make $80 million this opening weekend. It's just not. So the fact of the matter is, I don't think it was the kinky stuff that, brought up. Look, we live in an age where, I can hop on this laptop right now, not that I've ever done this, and look up pornography online. So, I mean, that's not going to attract a ton, $80 million opening weekend worth of people into a movie theater. It was the cultural phenomenon of the book. So if anything, I'll say it's just going to increase Hollywood's appetite to find huge book trends that are becoming cultural phenomenons, but not necessarily the kinky stuff. What do you think, Mark?
If they do go down the kinky road, I guess I'd want to see it matched with great story. And it's like, those two kind of are either one or the other. So do I think this is going to be a global trend from now on? I agree. No, I think this is like the book, so much money. And it was a cash cow.
Yeah.
Before I get into that, I beg to differ. I do think that the second one will make 80 million, but I think that the reason why it had the drop off is because anyone who read the book that wanted to see the movie saw it, and then anyone else who didn't care didn't see it.
And it was a Thanksgiving, or not Thanksgiving, it was Valentine's.
Yeah,
Thanksgiving.
So I think that'd be interesting. But I think that the hardcore fans, they saw the movie opening weekend. They'll probably see it again. They'll probably release it around Valentine's Day again because it did well for them and would make sense. And if it ain't broke, but yeah, I don't know about a kinky trend because, like you said, it's the books. However, playing, the devil's advocate is that look at what happened with, even though it was all books, but Hunger Games. Let's find every dystopian novel, young adult novel, and make it a
Cue Insurgents,
So maybe they can
Divergent.
find more kinky novels, maybe not of the success of 50 Shades of Grey, or maybe even there are more novels now.
There are
in
more
that.
of
Yes,
them.
well, that's what I mean. Is that maybe there are more novels that will try to get the success, but I hope not.
All right.
True Blood did it well. That kind of like married the kinkiness and a good storyline and the trends of vampires, but in a TV
Well, it
series.
also had a good writer as opposed to not a good one.
All right. What's next?
Caleb Danger writes, what is the best original blockbuster in recent years, not based on pre-existing material, books, TV, etc.?
It depends how long you go recent years. I mean, you're talking about like since 2000, since 2010. I don't know, but there are a handful that come to mind. Up was an original one, made nearly $300 million. Avatar, which was the largest, it is still today, remains the largest blockbuster hit of all time. Inception made around $300 million. The Hangover made north of $250 million. So, I mean, they're still around. Look, movies based that are either sequels or based on pre-existing material, they have an advantage because they have a built-in following to start. So that's why you fully expect to see those types of films at or near the top of the box office list. That's normal. But lots of these original films still get out there and can make big bank. Those just being some of the examples. The best one, Up. I'm going to say Up is the best of the bunch, but that's just my opinion. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know about best, but the ones that definitely have hit, Frozen is one.
Fifth biggest blockbuster of all time.
The Matrix. The other ones that was original. So there are tons of them out there. I mean, even depending on how big of, I think it did really well was Interstellar. I mean, that was original.
Interstellar, yeah, another
so
original.
there are tons that are being made all the time, but it's the safer bet to go after stuff that, like we were just talking about with 50 Shades of Grey. It's safer to go after stuff like that because we know it has a built-in audience. But sometimes when the risks are made, they pay off.
All right, what's next?
Roshan writes, please pick me. Hey. Do you guys think we'll see Inhumans in Civil/Infinity War? They have been already introduced in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I won't be surprised if they actually my assumption at this point, I have nothing to base this on, just my assumption, is that Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are Inhumans, as a matter of fact, because they can't be mutants. And so I think that we have already seen them in the movie world. They've been around before the television series because we saw them in the post-credit scene. So I think Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are Inhumans. You guys see it any other way?
No, I think you're right, but I think that they're gonna that'll be the first focus of those two. But I think the majority of the focus that's going to happen in that movie is the storyline between Cap and Tony Stark. It has to be for a Civil War. But you're right. You're going to start seeing it with Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, and then throughout the movies, maybe more characters will be introduced.
A lot of people are talking about this on Twitter, though. It's being thrown around a lot, and everyone's kind of doing that theory. That's the first time I've heard it that way, though. So, hey, high fives to you. I think, though, with these movies, we're seeing the nemesis, the bad guy, get bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's like, with X-Men, it's now Apocalypse, and it's just like, this guy is so big. We need kind of something else in there, I think, as like another card to play, and that could be the perfect one.
All right, folks, so that'll do it for us for this installment of AMC Movie Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, don't forget, lots of great movies playing at AMC Theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for all of your theater, showtime, and of course, your movie ticket information. If you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video and you'll find a link to our podcast feed. And don't forget to click the thumbs up button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and make sure you share this video all over the place. I want to thank, first of all, the people sitting at the table with me, the nine-fingered Maude Garrett. Maude, where can people find you online?
I'm on all social medias at Maude Garrett, so check it out and let's chat Star Wars.
And of course, sitting over here, speaking of Star Wars, going to be on the Jedi Council a little bit later, Mr. Christian Harloff. Christian, where can people find you?
Well, definitely Jedi Council episode 2 with myself and Maude and John, and we're going to be talking a lot of stuff for you guys who are just in the Star Wars universe and say, "Well, I'm intimidated. I don't know what to watch." We approach it on a level to where we are respectful of the fans who are just trying to get into it. So join us for that and follow me at Christian Harloff on Instagram and Twitter.
Council crew.
And of course, our lovely host today, Miss Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you?
Twitter, Instagram, Ashley Mova. Happy Thursday, guys.
Nice song.
And you can, of course, follow me on Twitter and on Facebook, just at John Campia. That'll do it for us, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us. My name is John Campia for AMC Movie News. And until next time, bye-bye.